What's up? It's Siraj Oxford. In this video, I'm going to explain why I'm a Green supporter and why I'm a sympathizer with Aegon II's Green's faction. And as you can see, Gold Dragon in a black field. So I'm a huge Green supporter. In this video, I'm pretty much going to talk about my perspective on the Greens and why I believe the Greens was a better side than Rhaenyra Targaryen's black faction. So before we go to that subject, let's begin with the Dance with Dragons is the first Targaryen civil war in the Targaryen dynasty between two branches of House Targaryen. The Dance with Dragons began in the year 129 AL, 169 years before the current events of the Game of Thrones. I was such a Green supporter, and pretty much why I'm in the side of the Greens is the simple fact that the blacks wasn't all that. I personally believe that the Greens was pretty much the better side, and they were in fact more worthy to have the Iron Throne, and they had the best leadership. And let me pretty much do the similarities between both rivals, Aegon II and his older half sister, Princess Rhaenyra, because I call her Queen Rhaenyra because she did sit on the Iron Throne. Okay. Pretty much the difference between Rhaenyra and Aegon II, and pretty much I want to pretty much go on why I favor Aegon II. But matter of fact, we switch on why I dislike Princess Rhaenyra, and I felt like she wasn't the right ruler for the Iron Throne. Alright, one major reason. She was entitled and she was snobbish. She felt like she was entitled to the throne just because she was the eldest surviving child of King Viserys the First. I apologize about my pronunciation. Pronouncing these Targaryen names is pretty hard. You gotta give me a break. But again, I believe Princess Rhaenyra was a poor choice for the Iron Throne. And pretty much she was just snobbish. She was entitled, and she had a poor she was a poor ruler. She felt like everybody had to bow to her and kneel to her, and she pretty much was the type of person that believed that she was better and she better than everybody else, and she was more entitled. And the woman pretty much she treated her subordinates and the people under her like they were dogs. You got to also look at the perspective with Lord Varys Baratheon and why he refused Princess Rhaenyra's aid for alliance, due to the fact that he understands the situation. She felt like her heirs was too good for a arranged marriage, like a marriage pact with Lord Varys, even though he was from a great house. And he felt offended because the Greens were actually giving Boris Baratheon a better offer by arranging a marriage pact between Aemma Targaryen amongst one of Boris Baratheon's daughters. And Boris Baratheon called out fucking Rhaenyra for what she was and her actions. She pretty much was a bitch, and she was treating her subordinates and lords that was possibly sworn to her and just people under her like dogs. And you gotta also look at other situations, because she was betrayed multiple times in the current event of the war, and for a good reason. She was a poor ruler, and she literally treated her subordinates and her allies like garbage. You know what I'm saying? She was too self-entitled, and she was a poor ruler. Second reason why, another example why I think she was a poor ruler, is because during the war she had a dragon and she never entered the battlefield. At least Aegon II entered the battlefield, even though he got injured the first battle he was in. As you gotta give the guy props for actually entering the battlefield and being a warrior, and he still counts as a warrior king, even though he had two fights in the whole conflict. At the end of the day, the guy's still considered a warrior because he was man enough to actually enter the battlefield once Princess Rihanna, she didn't enter the battlefield. She was a coward. She pretty much expected everybody to fight for her, and she wasn't willing to fight for them. Even though she's a woman, she was still a dragon rider, so she could have still fought. Remember her aunt and mother-in-law, Princess Rhaenys, the queen that never was. She was a woman. She still fought, and even though it was a trap. That counts for something. So the whole woman thing doesn't matter. Like she was still a dragon rider, and she didn't have any conflict like in any battlefield. So she was literally a coward, a titled woman, and she was a poor ruler. Plus another reason I gotta not fuck with her is the fact that she had like she was I can't pronounce it, but she was pretty much like a slut. Like she slept around with multiple she had like favorite suitors, and with a few nights, and probably and I think it was a night called Strawn, and she she had like 3 bastard children, and the 3 bastard children, they didn't have any of the Targaryen features. They had like fat nose and brown hair, and everybody knew they were bastards because they didn't have the Targaryen features. The only children of Princess Rihanna that actually had Targaryen features was her 2 sons from Daemon Targaryen. So and plus her supposed 3 bastard children, even though they were dragon riders, they didn't have the Targaryen name. They had the Valerion name. So the main reason why House Valerion was major supporters of Rihanna, Princess Rihanna, is due to the fact that they had that house. So House Valerion would literally stolen the Targaryen fucking dynasty, bro. And the fucked up thing about it, they wasn't even Valerians either. They were just Targaryens, but they were Targaryen bastards. You know what I'm saying? So they would have had the Valerian name, but they wouldn't have the bloodline of House Valerian. You know what I'm saying? They would have had the bastard bloodline of House Targaryen and House Straw. And pretty much that's why. Cause like she was too much of a slut. Even though and another reason, probably one of the major reasons why she was a poor choice for the Iron Throne, is due to the fact of her entourage in her court. Like her husband was Daemon Targaryen. Daemon Targaryen is pretty much, in my opinion, I consider him being like literally the worst character and the most dangerous character, and the current timeline of Dance of Dragons in the current event. If you read the Rogue Prince and you actually read some of the actions that he did, Prince Daemon Targaryen is literally like the little finger of like that current timeline. He was like he did a lot of fucked up things and dirty deeds. Like he arranged the murder of Rhaenyra's first husband so he could marry her, and so he could pretty much rule the Iron Throne in her name. And pretty much the main reason why the Greens and Alyssa, like Queen Alyssa Hightower, was able to talk her son Prince Aegon into claiming the Iron Throne is because everybody knew, especially the Green faction, knew that if Princess Rhaenyra comes to the Iron Throne, that Daemon Targaryen will arrange murders against the Greens faction, and mostly Aegon and his children, and definitely Aemon Targaryen. Aemon Targaryen, he was probably the deadliest supporter of the Greens, but at the end of the day, he has a justified reason to be who he was and to have that type of personality. Because if it like pretty much in a young age, if you lose an eye to your nephew, it doesn't matter if he's your blood nephew. If you got into a fight with your blood nephew and he took your eye out, you're not gonna be friendly with the guy. You're gonna want to take his fucking life. It's like an eye for an eye, man. That's how it is. You're gonna want to take somebody's life. Like if somebody disfigured you and you lose a fucking eye, you gonna shake that dude's hand? No, nigga, you gonna want revenge, man. It doesn't matter how nice you are. If somebody took your eye and that dude doesn't really give a fuck that he did it to you, You're gonna hate that person, man. It's understandable, man. It's called logic, bro. Like, you're not gonna want to be friends and hug and actually be all lovey-dovey to some dude that took your eye out. You're gonna want to fucking kill that dude. It's just common sense. I'm just saying it in a common sense approach. That's why Aemon Targaryen was like that. And the only reason why Aemon Targaryen burned down the Riverlands is because most of the Riverlands were supporters of Rhaenyra's faction, the Blacks. House Tully, the leader of House Tully at the time, was a supporter of the Greens. But when he died, his heir, his son, became a supporter of the Blacks. So most of the River Lords were supporters of the Blacks. That's why Aemon Targaryen burned down the fucking Riverlands, because he was also trying to set a trap for Rhaenyra to send another dragon rider so he could kill that person, because he was by himself. But the only reason why he didn't go after Daemon Targaryen, because Daemon Targaryen wasn't an idiot. He had Nelly's, one of the dragon riders that was a bastard. He had a like pretty much team up with him so they could hunt down Aemon Targaryen. Aemon Targaryen wasn't stupid enough to go against two dragons, even though he had the strongest dragon at the time. He wasn't willing to do that. You know, it was too risky. So that's why Aemon Targaryen was burning down the Riverlands, because he was trying to set up a similar trap that they did with Rook West when Aemon and Aegon double teamed and killed Rhaenys, the prince that never was. So that's why he was burning down the Riverlands, because most of the Riverlands were supporters of the fucking Blacks. And the only reason why the Riverlands, some factions of the Riverlands, started being supporters of the Greens is because Rhaenyra wanted to assassinate one of the bastards underneath a lord's roof. And then he totally... And that's another example why Aegon II was a better choice. Because Rhaenyra had no honor. She was pretty much like a lesser version of Cersei Lannister. But a little bit less like evil, but she was still similar to Cersei Lannister. But the darkest character in the backstory timeline off the bat was Daemon Targaryen. Like I said, he set up assassinations. He assassinated Klaus Valerion's oldest son, that was Rhaenyra's husband. He set that dude up to get murdered. Okay. And he also set up an assassination for one of Aegon II's kids to get killed. That was kind of fucked up, and that was like you can't justify the Blacks for that, you know, and you know it was just a fucked up situation. Even though the Greens won and they got eradicated due to the fact that Aegon II was the last Green remaining and he died. It was bittersweet. The victory was extremely bittersweet. So no real side actually won. The Blacks kind of did win because they outlived the Greens, but at the same time, it was still fucked up, man. And I think that was like the most. That was like the just like the boiling point for me, because I was literally a Green supporter, like thick and thin, and I wanted Aegon like. The best thing I pretty much hoped for was for Aegon II's surviving daughter to literally marry Aegon III and actually produce the children, Daeron the Young Dragon, and Bella the Blessed, and the other daughters. Yeah, the other three daughters of Aegon II. Aegon III, the Dragonbane. But, you know, it was just fucked up, man. Like, especially what happened to Aegon II's daughter was kind of fucked up. So, like, in the end of the day, I literally have to, like, side with the Game of Thrones history and law version of the Dance with Dragons, because the actual story of Dance with Dragons, like, on the book, is kind of too fucked up. I don't want to get in too much terms on it, because it's, like, a touchy subject with me, because I'm a major Green supporter. But like I said, I think like Aegon II, he had his flaws. He wasn't that good of a guy, but he wasn't like super mad. He wasn't crazy like Joffrey. He had some Joffrey tendencies, but it was pretty much him being spoiled and entitled too. But at the same time, the guy was still honorable. At least he was able to actually go in the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't a coward. He was still a warrior. And plus, the guy had the coolest dragon, Sunflake, the golden dragon. Come on. And plus, Aemon Targaryen, he was awesome. He was a little bit dark, but he was still awesome. You know, he was just a bitter dude, but he was still kind of cool. And it's kind of sad how like Darren, the youngest brother of Aegon II, died. And I was like, I was hoping for him to at least survive, but he died. But he died in mysterious terms. So it was like the story is kind of good, but it sucked that the Greens got wiped out. But like I said, like I'm a major supporter of the Greens, and I don't care what anybody say. I believe the blacks was the wrong side, and you know, I'm definitely a Green supporter, and I just had to explain why I'm such a Green supporter. It's been your bro Saraja Oxford. Later, peace out. Have a good day.